There's no way around it. The offensive tackle situation in Chicago is officially in the spotlight, and it might just be the biggest storyline to watch during this bye week. Braxton Jones, once seen as a potential long-term answer on the line, is suddenly looking like the odd man out. And what's more, rookie Azie Trapo might be inching closer and closer to a starting role, whether fans are ready for that or not. So the real question we got to ask, is Braxton done? And is Azie actually ready? Let's start with what went down against the Raiders. On the surface, it looked like a routine mid-game adjustment. Theo Benedict struggling with Max Crosby, trying to mix things up. But when you dig into the details, it becomes clear that something deeper might be brewing. Theo didn't just get subbed out. He got moved to left tackle. And Braxton? He went straight to the bench. That's a bold move, especially when there's no mention of an injury, no sideline medical tent, no limp, nothing to suggest he couldn't physically go. When a guy gets benched like that, without explanation, you have to start wondering if we've seen the last of him as a starting option. There's a theory floating around, and it makes a lot of sense that maybe the coaching staff knows what Braxton is. A solid, serviceable lineman, but maybe not a guy you build around. Not after injury, not when he's in a contract year, and not when you've got younger players on rookie deals who need snaps. If the difference between Braxton and Theo isn't massive, maybe you roll with a guy who's locked in for the long term. And maybe, just maybe, this is the start of a shift toward giving Azie Trapo more run to see what he can really become. Now, what's interesting here is that the Bears aren't tipping their hand. Ben Johnson came out and said they're evaluating everything, going back over the tape, watching all 4 games, seeing who's done what and who deserves a shot. And when a coach says that, it usually means one thing: nobody's locked in. Everything is on the table. Left tackle, right tackle, it's all fluid right now. Which brings us to Darnell Wright. Wright has been the Bears' most consistent offensive tackle, despite the penalties and the occasional hiccup. He's got the size, the athleticism, the pedigree. And while he's been parked at right tackle for most of his college and pro career, we know he can play the left side. He did it at Tennessee. He wasn't elite there, but he held his own. The big question is, can the Bears really ask him to make that switch in the middle of the season while nursing an elbow injury and expect decent results? That's a tough ask. It's not just about footwork and hand placement. It's about rhythm, timing, instincts. You're basically reprogramming muscle memory. And let's be honest, if the coaching staff is serious about getting Azie on the field, it might have to happen at right tackle. They've tried him at left. It didn't go well. And even against the Raiders, when he came in, they didn't give him that role. Instead, they moved Theo to left, kept Azie on the right. That tells us everything we need to know about where they see his future, at least for now. The left tackle experiment with Trapo might already be over, or at least on hold. So if he's playing, it's likely going to be on the right side, which forces the Darnell question back into the spotlight. Are you willing to shuffle your best lineman to the left to make room for a rookie on the right? It's a fascinating dilemma, because if you believe in Trapo long-term, and the Bears seem to, then finding a way to get him reps now is important. But if it comes at the cost of weakening both tackle spots, moving Darnell out of position and rushing Azie into full-time duties, then you might be hurting your quarterback more than helping. So it's a balance. Now, let's talk a little more about Azie's debut. He played 40 snaps at right tackle against a guy who's currently playing like a top 3 edge rusher in the NFL. Max Crosby is a monster, just wrecking plays by himself. And yet, once Trapo came in, you could feel the tone shift a bit. Crosby didn't disappear, but his dominance slowed down. The Bears weren't perfect. Azie got beat a couple times late in the game, especially in crunch time, but considering it was his first extended action, that's not a terrible result. You're a rookie. Lining up on an island against Max Crosby? That's a trial by fire. But then the PFF grades come out, and suddenly people are talking. A pass block grade of just over 30? That doesn't seem to match the eye test. He gave up 2 pressures in 26 pass block snaps. Braxton gave up the same number in 18 and somehow had a much higher grade. So what's going on there? That's the tricky part with PFF. It's one data point, not gospel. Offensive line play is so system-dependent, and grading it isn't an exact science. Maybe Azie was losing reps in ways we didn't see on TV. Maybe he looked technically sloppy, even when he didn't give up pressure. That stuff factors in. But even then, the disparity in grades feels steep. Kyle Long chimed in on Twitter and gave some love to Trapo. He pointed out that the rookie looked composed, understood when to help and when to peel off, played with a plan. That's high praise from former pro. And that kind of mental processing is something the Bears were reportedly raving about all offseason. Azie's a smart player. He gets the concepts, the assignments, the adjustments. That's half the battle in the trenches. If he can match that IQ with solid technique and some functional strength, he could grow into a legit starter. The Bears have to figure out what they have in him, sooner rather than later. Because if Darnell Wright is your best lineman and Azie looks like he's catching on, then that leaves Braxton Jones and Theo Benedict on the hot seat. And it doesn't help that neither of them looked particularly sharp against the Raiders. Theo, in particular, had a rough outing early. Crosby just tore through him. Braxton's play has also dipped post-injury, and he was already a fringe starter at best. So now the coaching staff has to make a call. Do you run it back with the veterans and hope for cleaner execution? Or do you lean into the youth movement, let the kids play, and hope they figure it out fast? It's a risky path either way, but given how much turnover there's likely to be on this roster after the season, it makes sense to give the young guys a shot. If Azie plays well and Darnell can hold his own at left tackle, that's potentially your tackle duo for the next 5 years. But that's assuming a lot. That Darnell can make the switch cleanly. That Azie doesn't get overwhelmed. That the chemistry develops quickly. And, of course, that both guys stay healthy, which hasn't been a given with this group. Still, the upside is there. Darnell Wright has the tools to be a left tackle. He's got the frame, the quick feet, the balance. The concern is really just the timing. You usually want to make that kind of move in the offseason, not mid-year with a guy dealing with a nagging elbow injury. But if you think it's the best combination for your line, sometimes you got to pull the trigger. So here we are at a bit of a crossroads. The Bears aren't committing to anyone yet. Ben Johnson made it clear everything's under review. And maybe that's the right approach. Let the tape guide the decision. Let the players show who deserves to be out there. Because this line is protecting your future, literally. Caleb Williams needs time, needs space, needs stability. And if you don't get this right, it's going to make his job a whole lot harder. And while the offensive line is getting most of the spotlight this week, there's another player who quietly had one of the roughest outings of his season, Kmet. It's not often you point to a tight end and say, he nearly cost us the game, but on Sunday, that wasn't far from the truth. It was one of those games where everything that could go wrong for him did. The kind of performance where nothing sticks, penalties pop up at the worst possible time, and even when you're open, you just don't make the play. And for a player like Kmet, who's typically known for his reliability, that stands out even more. Let's just be real. Kmet dropped 2 critical passes, including a seam shot that would have put the Bears in a goal-to-go situation. You can argue that he might have even had a shot at the end zone on that play. He later dropped a simple check down, one of those passes that just has to be caught. Add in a miscue on a scramble drill. Not officially a drop, but Caleb put it exactly where it needed to be, and it hit Kmet's hands. And you've got 3 missed opportunities in a single game. That alone is frustrating. But then throw in 2 false starts, one of which came out of a timeout on a 4th and 1. And that's just a killer. The Bears were ready to go for it. They had the play called. And suddenly, a mental lapse moves them back 5 yards, forces a punt, and kills the momentum. That kind of mistake just can't happen from one of your leaders. To be fair, Cole's always been an accountable guy. He'll be the first to own up to his mistakes. And every player has an off day. But this wasn't just 1 or 2 slips. It was 4 or 5 key errors that directly impacted the outcome of the game. When you're missing your top receiving options or relying on a rookie quarterback to deliver in tight windows, your security blankets have to show up. Kmet didn't. That's not to say he's suddenly unreliable. He's built enough of a track record to earn some benefit of the doubt, but it's fair to say that game will linger for a bit. It has to, because the Bears can't afford repeated performances like that from one of their focal points. And while we're on the subject of Caleb Williams, let's not gloss over what kind of game he actually had. Statistically, it was modest, a little over 200 yards, a touchdown, a pick, and a couple of scrambles. But if you watch the game closely, especially the second half, you saw something more important than numbers. You saw resilience. You saw poise. You saw a rookie quarterback dealing with an absolute menace in Max Crosby, a first half full of drops and misfires, and still managing to steady himself and deliver when it mattered most. Caleb's first half wasn't great. That's obvious. He missed a few throws, made a questionable decision or two, and didn't seem entirely comfortable in the pocket. But context matters. Crosby was living in the backfield, tipping passes, blowing up screens, even picking off a throw after faking a rush and dropping into coverage. That kind of chaos can rattle even veteran quarterbacks, let alone a first-year player trying to find his rhythm. But to his credit, Williams didn't fold. He settled in, found some rhythm late in the second quarter, and then came out after halftime with a bit more confidence. That third-quarter touchdown to Rome was a thing of beauty. The Raiders sent pressure, six-man blitz, and Caleb stood tall in the pocket, hit his back foot, took a single hitch, and fired. Rome hadn't even made his break yet, and Williams put the ball on a rope to the exact spot it needed to be. That's the kind of throw you expect from a seasoned veteran. Anticipation, timing, velocity, all working together on a money down. It might have been his best throw of the season so far, and it clearly gave him, and the offense, a shot of momentum they desperately needed. The final drive only confirmed it. Down late, needing points, Caleb went 4 for 5, made smart decisions, stayed calm under pressure, and moved the chains when it mattered most. That's what you want to see from a franchise quarterback in development. He didn't need to throw for 400 yards or run for 100. He just needed to execute in the clutch. And he did exactly that. Now, if you dig into the analytics, the numbers aren't going to blow you away. The Pro Football Focus grade was decent, somewhere in the B- range. 2 big-time throws, 2 turnover-worthy plays, one being the fumble on the zone read mesh, the other likely that ill-advised crossbody throw that got batted away. But that's part of the growth process. You clean those up over time. What matters more is the command he showed late in the game and how he responded when the script wasn't going according to plan. Because in the NFL, things rarely go exactly how you want them to. The great ones find a way to navigate through that. And that brings us back to the offensive line because it all connects. Caleb can only do so much if he's getting constant pressure. If the tackles can't hold up, if the protection doesn't give him 3 seconds to throw, the development slows down. So again, this decision the Bears have to make, which 2 tackles are going to start moving forward, it's not just a depth chart decision. It's a quarterback development decision. It's a franchise trajectory decision. If Darnell Wright can make the switch to left tackle and hold up reasonably well, and Azie can grow into a serviceable right tackle, that's a massive win. But if the experiment goes sideways, if Wright struggles on the left and Azie isn't ready for full-time duty, then suddenly your most important player is under siege every week. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, rumors are swirling that Michael Thomas, one of the league's most electrifying wide receivers, has decided to part ways with the New Orleans Saints and is reportedly set to don the jersey of the Chicago Bears. Sources close to the matter, though hesitant to confirm details, suggest that negotiations have been quietly progressing behind the scenes, and a deal could be finalized in the coming days. Thomas, who has been a cornerstone of the Saints' offense since his debut, has dazzled fans with his route-running precision and uncanny ability to make contested catches. His departure would mark the end of an era in New Orleans, where he has been a fan favorite and a consistent threat in the passing game. For the Saints, the potential loss of Thomas represents a significant shakeup, raising questions about how the team will adapt its offensive strategy without his presence. Meanwhile, Chicago fans are reportedly buzzing with excitement over the prospect of adding Thomas to their roster. The Bears, who have been looking to bolster their receiving core, would instantly gain a proven playmaker capable of transforming the dynamics of their passing attack. Speculation is rife that Thomas could pair with emerging talent in Chicago, creating a formidable duo that opponents will struggle to contain. As with any high-profile move, the whispers are intensifying on social media and in locker rooms across the league. Analysts are weighing the potential impact on both teams, debating how Thomas's move could reshape the NFC landscape. While neither the Saints nor the Bears have officially confirmed the trade, insiders hint that an announcement could come soon, leaving fans on the edge of their seats. For now, all eyes remain on Michael Thomas. Will he live up to the hype in a new city, or will the Saints find a way to fill the void left by their star receiver? The NFL community is watching closely, and one thing is certain. The chatter around this potential transfer shows no signs of slowing down. If the rumors prove true, the upcoming season could become one of the most thrilling yet, fueled by one of the game's most talked about wideouts taking his talents to Chicago. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.